Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Spider-Man Miles Morales video and a news roundup courtesy of the Daily Bugle minus Jonah Jameson, because if you remember from Spider-Man PS4, he had left and he was hosting his own podcast, which was ever so kindly played to us throughout the game. There is a small section on Jonah and his possible return to the Daily Bugle in the last article of today's video, but so far there have been 5 articles. In previous videos I've already gone over the first 2 ones, so we'll get them out of the way quickly and then we'll get on to 3 much more interesting ones that lay the groundwork for the story and the campaign of Miles Morales, and possibly even a bit more information on Spider-Man 2 and how certain characters are being set up for the full-on sequel rather than this standalone game. The first story was purely about the new Spider-Man that had been seen out on rooftops, who even the civilians could clearly see was not quite as experienced as the previous Peter Parker Spider-Man. Not that they know either identities, but they acknowledge that he seems younger, and the feverish way that he swings suggests that he is extremely enthusiastic about being a hero. So even the regular New Yorkers clearly understand who Miles is, and they've understood his personality purely from seeing him swing above their heads throughout the city. Next up, we had an article focused on the villains, that being the Underground, the gang that has filled in the place after Kingpin's downfall, and who are, to our knowledge, being led by the Tinkerer, who we saw in the extended gameplay reveal of Spider-Man Miles Morales. They sport neon purple weaponry, which I can't be the only one who thinks that links to the Prowler, who we don't know for certain will be showing up in the story, because we know that Uncle Aaron will be in the game. That was leaked a good few months ago by the voice actor of Miles Morales himself, where he showed us a few clips of him recording dialogue, and it was him talking to Uncle Aaron, or Aaron Davis, in 2 situations. One for if Spider-Man is standing still, and the second one for if Miles is swinging through the city. It has to be heard that he's exerting himself, and it's really cool that they record the lines twice to make it seem more immersive.
I better check in with Uncle Aaron. Ring ring, and he's like, yeah.
Hey, Mr. Davis, how are things looking now? Hey, Mr. Davis, how are things looking now?
I like the A of those 2. That's perfect. And let me get the non-exerted one, because I don't think the next one is for a while.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Davis, how are things looking now? Hey, Mr. Davis, how are things looking now?
And now we move on to the other villains of the game, although in this article they are being portrayed as something more akin to saviors, because it is Roxxon Energy Corps and their brand new clean energy initiative that they are claiming will save the world, and Harlem will be the place where this new form reactor is going to be used. And it even says here that many East Harlem residents are skeptical towards its safety, and if you saw the extended gameplay footage on the bridge, I believe that is new form in a truck being transported, and Miles gets blasted into, and his venom blast causes a huge explosion when it mixes with the new form. So it is clearly not 100% safe, and Roxxon they featured in Marvel's Cloak and Dagger, the TV series, which I would absolutely recommend, and they have never ever been the good guys in a Marvel comic. This new form reactor is supposed to promise 0 byproducts and supposedly will power parts of New York City for centuries, but we will just have to wait and see until the full game releases to find out just how clean and perfect Roxxon really are. And continuing with the villains theme, we now have Oscorp, and more specifically the fall of Norman Osborn, because of course after Devil's Breath, Norman was embarrassed and he retreated back to his penthouse, and his business Oscorp is falling to pieces. All of their business partners are pulling out of their contracts, and their shares are worth literally pennies because no one trusts Oscorp anymore, and this clearly seems to be the final straw that may push Norman Osborn over into becoming the Green Goblin. And as I said at the start of this video, this one seems to be more of a tease for Spider-Man 2, because I will be shocked if we get a full-on boss fight with the Green Goblin fully formed Norman Osborn when we're playing as Miles Morales rather than Peter Parker. Green Goblin's always been associated with Peter much more, and their relationship, especially through Peter's relationship with Harry, it's always been much more personal to Spider-Man. And while Spider-Man Miles Morales will absolutely set up for the sequel, I would expect anything containing Oscorp or Norman Osborn to take more of a sidestep and be in the background for this game, rather than the main antagonist, who clearly seems to be the Underground and Roxxon so far. And now onto Jonah Jameson, the former editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle, and that change seems to have impacted the Bugle very negatively, because it seems that people are picking up fewer copies ever since he's been been fired. Jameson, once being fired, turned to his podcast, Just the Facts, and he's also turned it into book deals and various self-titled product launches. But it seems like a return is on the cards for Jameson, because inside sources report that the Daily Bugle are holding quiet negotiations with Jameson to see if there's a chance of him returning in the future. I see that as it's not going to happen initially. There will be teasers of it throughout Spider-Man Miles Morales, and by the time it comes around to Spider-Man 2, Jameson will be back in full force as the head of the Daily Bugle, and we will finally get him as that head in the Insomniac universe. And finally, we have the most recent article, which is clearly concerning the Spider-Man Miles Morales campaign, because it focuses on Spider-Man's mother herself, Rio Morales, who is now running for mayor now that obviously Norman Osborn is nowhere to be seen, and she has gained followers, especially thanks to the previously mentioned Roxxon, who have moved into East Harlem and have forced the closings of several beloved local shops, one of which we saw in the Spider-Cat trailer. And Rio Morales strongly opposes Roxxon, who have an advocate directly opposing her running for mayor. This person is completely unidentified and anonymous at the moment, and I'm sure that'll be a big reveal in the game. But there are no teasers here to describe who that might actually be. It could be literally anyone. It could be Aaron Davis himself. It could be Norman Osborn maybe running from the shadows. Maybe Kingpin's running it from a cell. We just don't know yet. And that is all for this news roundup on Spider-Man Miles Morales. Leave a like if you did enjoy, subscribe, and all Spider-Man Miles Morales news will be featured on this channel. And when the game comes out, I'll be doing a giveaway of multiple copies of the game. And finally, I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support over the Miles Morales videos. It's completely taken me aback. So thank you to everyone who watched the videos, who commented. It was awesome to see over the last week. So thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I will see you next time.